method or strategy to offset some of the events or a repetition of the events that have taken place here in Los Angeles recently. We have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put two dupes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man to go nuts if he can't shoot. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
Queen.
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queens.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Ahmadiyyah.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
I'm
Queen.
getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
All right. Hello, everyone. Grand Rising. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about this mother who's accused of shooting 4 of her children. 2 of them sadly have passed away, and the other 2 are fighting for their lives. So we're going to get into it. But before we do, let's have a brief word from my sponsor. Hey, Jeff, Lillian X is in the house, DJ Big Six, G from the Land. All right, Nessie X, Terry Hinton. Shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. I see you, songwriter Sonny. Okay, and shout out to my moderators for putting in work. Now listen, one of the haters or somebody from YouTube has been messing with things on this channel. So if you notice anything, like you're typing or you're trying to type and you can't type in the chat, be sure to send me an email, okay, so I can figure out what's going on. Also, when you send the email, send me the link to your account, to your YouTube account, okay, in case I need to go on your page and unhide you or something, because a couple of people were hidden from the channel. We didn't do it, neither me nor the moderators. Okay, then also yesterday, one of my moderators, Perplex, didn't even have a wrench. Okay, and so my chief moderator had to let me know. So anyway, just crazy stuff going on with the channel. So you all let me know if you notice any of those things. With that all been said, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Right, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes Hair Oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so before we get into this story about this woman shooting her four defenseless children, uh, there's a little bit of an update on David. Now, we haven't heard much about this story for the past few days, but it doesn't look like David is going to be charged, okay, in the death of Celeste Rivas. So let's get into it. What's the latest development in the Celeste Rivas death case? While the investigation into her death is being continued, some key details for the case have remained unresolved. Now, the coroner's office is still working to find out how and when Celeste died. Although the police stress that no criminal charges have been filed at this time, authorities have acknowledged that someone deliberately tried to conceal her body in the vehicle. For now, speculation continues to swirl around the singer, even though LAPD officials have stressed that David is not an official suspect. Okay, do you all hear this? He is not an official suspect. And one of the reasons is because they have not determined the cause of death. Okay, they have not figured out how this young lady died. And I told you all that was going to be a problem. So anyway, what did Celeste Rivas' ex-boyfriend say about her shocking demise? Amid the confusion around Celeste Rivas' death, her former middle school boyfriend, 15-year-old Damian Hernandez, sat down for an interview. Well, I'm not going to get into all of that because we actually watched that interview. I showed it to you all. And so the bottom line is, let me go down here and see what else they're saying. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now they say, where is David? Questions about David's whereabouts have only fueled more rumors about the case. The Los Angeles Times reported that all of the artist's upcoming shows have been canceled after her body was found, Celeste's body was found in the Tesla. And Thursday, there was a viral clip that came out on Thursday claimed to show lights and voices inside his Hollywood residence confirming that he was home. Still, the singer has not been seen in public. I thought he moved out of that Hollywood home. Or does he have another house that I don't know anything about? He still has not been seen. Now, why is David not arrested? Okay, so they say many people have found multiple clues forming a link between Celeste and David, and he still has not been arrested. So, according to experts, the reason lies in the legal requirement of probable cause. LAPD has still classified the case or the case as a death investigation and not as a homicide. Legal analysts have warned that rushing for his arrest could backfire. Now, NBC News further quoted one attorney as saying, detaining a high-profile figure without sufficient proof risk dismissal later. On the other hand, ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer explained on Good Morning America, basically saying law enforcement does not have the answers they need to be able to confront or question David. Without a confirmed cause and manner of death, there is no legal ground for an arrest. Okay, and so there you have it. That's what I told you all was going to happen. Okay, it's just like with the case of Casey Anthony. All right, so anyway, what do you all think? I mean, this is a case of very much so intrigue, and all of that, because a dead body, dismembered, found in the trunk of a car, a famous singer. Well, I wouldn't say famous, he's famous now, but previously I'd never heard of him, and neither had many of you, according to what you've said. So Terry Hinn says very suspicious. I absolutely agree. Okay, I absolutely agree. Listen, if they can't find out how she died, then there may not be anyone charged in her murder. Okay, and that is absolutely crazy. That's absolutely crazy to me. Thank you for your contribution to the channel, Sent You Prophetic Bastard. I appreciate you, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, so now let's get into this story about this woman shooting her 4 kids. Her name is Oninda Romulus, and she's 31 years old, and she's facing several charges, including murder. Now, Oninda Romulus is accused of shooting and killing her 13-year-old son and her 3-year-old daughter. Her 2 other children, ages 8 and 9, they survived the shooting, and like I said, they're in the hospital fighting for their lives. So a Texas mother accused of shooting her 4 children and killing 2 once appeared on a reality TV show to determine the paternity of one of the victims. Oninda Romulus, age 31, was arrested by Brazoria County officials early morning on Saturday, October the 4th, after allegedly shooting her 4 children, killing her teenage son and toddler daughter. Now, this is according to the Brazoria County Sheriff's Office. This is what they said in a statement. Now, the police did not publicly name the children, but they were identified, okay, as 13-year-old Ocario Covington and 3-year-old Amara Chapel. So 2 of Ramos's other children, an 8-year-old boy and a 9-year-old girl, survived the shooting and are in stable condition per the sheriff's office. Okay, so that's good. They're in stable condition. They were saying critical at first. Now, law enforcement officers responded to a report of a shooting found Romulus and her children in a vehicle where they believe the shooting actually took place. She was arrested at the scene. Now, once she was in custody, she basically told them that she was trying to take them out before they did it to her. I mean, she was going on, saying these crazy things, ramblings, talking about the devil, that they're with the devil and all of this. It was just all real crazy. And so anyway, like I said, she's the one who initially called 911, and they said she appeared to be paranoid during the interview. She allegedly told police that she called 911 because instead of them doing it to me, I'm going to do it to them. When asked to clarify what she meant by do it to them, she allegedly said, kill them all. She further alleged that her children were dead to her and they were with the devil. And at one point stating, because you can't take me without me taking you. That's what she said. Now, Child Protective Services told KHOW 11 that they're investigating the case and working to ensure the well-being and safety of the surviving children. Romulus had been charged, she has been charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. The sheriff's office said this in their statement, and they said she's been held on a $14 million bond. Okay, so plea and attorney information have not appeared yet on online court records. Okay, so this is all very strange. Now, with that all being said, let's go to some of these reports. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Now, this woman could have mental health issues, or she could just be wicked, but after we finish dissecting all of the information, let's see what everybody thinks.
Revealing what a mother allegedly said before shooting her 4 children. 2 of them died over the weekend.
ABC 13 reporter Sarah Al-Sheikh has been following the case since Saturday. She's live now in front of the home where officials say the mother lived in Porter. Sarah?
Yeah, those court documents really gave some insight into the state of mind of that mother after this incident. Those documents claim while she was being questioned, investigators described her as alert and aware, but not making sense. Disturbing details coming to light from a tragic shooting that killed 2 young children and injured 2 others.
Brazoria County deputies responded to an unthinkable, unimaginable tragedy.
The person the Brazoria County Sheriff's Office believes did this, the children's mother, 31-year-old Oninda Romulus.
It is impossible to make sense of a senseless tragedy like this, but we will do everything we can to seek justice for these children.
Court records obtained by ABC 13 stated surveillance footage showed Romulus pull up to a gas station and talk on her phone as she was getting fuel. When deputies responded to that gas station off of State Highway 288, the documents say they found Romulus's car running with all doors opened and some of the children's bodies covered in a white sheet. According to those records, they found a 13-year-old boy slumped over in the passenger seat with gunshot wounds and 3 other children in the back seat who were also shot. Sadly, law enforcement says the teen boy and a 3-year-old girl died, while an 8-year-old boy and 9-year-old girl were taken via life flight to a hospital in Houston where they are in stable condition. According to court records, during an interview at the county jail, Romulus appeared to be paranoid about her surroundings while repeatedly looking toward the door. In those documents, investigators described how she initially said she couldn't talk about what happened, but then said, quote, "Instead of them doing it to me, I'm going to do it to them." When an investigator asked, "Do what?" according to those records, she responded, quote, "Kill them all." When asked where her children were, records claimed she told deputies they were with the devil, adding, quote, "They're dead," and, quote, "'cause you can't take me without me taking you." And the sheriff's office says the mother's bond is currently set at $14 million and that she is still in jail. Reporting live in Porter, Sarah Al-Sheikh, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Absolutely egregious. Okay? I mean, that had to be a horrible scene for the police when they pulled up. Let's go to this next report.
Trick or treat. Grace Caliban from Caliban Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, and this month we're handing out deals sweeter than a king-size candy bar. We have treats for everyone, low monthly payments on new Jeeps and Ram trucks, used vehicles starting at $10,000 with financing options for everyone. Caliban's Million Mile Promise is the sweetest treat in town and keeps your vehicle covered for 1 million miles. No tricks here. These deals are real and they're happening now, only at Caliban Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Are you ready?
We are learning heartbreaking new details tonight about a mother accused of the unimaginable, shooting her 4 children and killing 2 of them.
This is a previous mugshot you're looking at of Oninda Romulus. Tonight, court documents revealing what she told deputies from behind bars. Anieli Ruiz is following the story. And Anieli, I know you spoke to the suspect's father tonight.
I spoke with her father briefly over the phone. He says they're still trying to make sense of it all. They had just moved to Texas in May without any family here. Tonight, court documents are painting a disturbing picture of what may have led to the deaths of 2 young children, allegedly at the hands of their own mother. 31-year-old Oninda Romulus is accused of shooting all 4 of her children early Saturday morning. Investigators say she drove nearly an hour from her home in Porter to this gas station in Angleton and then called 911.
We need multiple ambulances.
You can hear the officers' urgency as they uncover a tragic scene. 13-year-old Okero Covington had been killed, and 3-year-old Amara Chappelle also died in the back seat.
We're doing first aid. We're doing everything we can.
Officers rushed to help the 2 surviving children, 9-year-old Kyle Romulus and 8-year-old Traviel Donner. Both were airlifted to Memorial Hermann Hospital fighting for their lives. Meanwhile, their mother was taken into custody, and what she allegedly told investigators is chilling. When asked why she called 911, court documents said she told investigators, "Instead of them doing it to me, I'm going to do it to them." When asked, "Do what?" she reportedly replied, "Kill them all." She also told investigators she didn't call 911. She called the devil. She told detectives her children were with the devil. She went on to tell them they're dead. When asked what she meant by what she said, she replied, "You can't take me without me taking you." It's unclear what may have pushed her to this point, but investigators searched her home in Porter, but haven't released what, if anything, was found. One car was towed, but digging into her past, Oninda has a criminal record, including arrests for DUI, drug possession, and reckless driving. And nearly 12 years ago, she appeared on the reality TV show Paternity Court, trying to learn who fathered her oldest child. Neither of the men tested turned out to be the father. Now she sits behind bars accused of something far more serious. Well, CPS confirms they had one prior interaction with this mother, but could not release the details. The two children remain in the hospital. As for the mother, she remains in the jail on a $14 million bond. Anayeli Ruiz, KHOU 11 News.
That absolutely is tragic. Okay, we're going to listen to some more. And then also we're going to listen to what they have to say about it on crime, law and crime, because they have an expert that comes on. But so far, just from what you all are hearing, do you all think that she had mental health issues, or do you think she's just wicked? Once, if you think that she was wicked. Once, if you think that she's just wicked. Two, if you think that she may have mental health issues. Choose if you think she may have mental health issues. One, if you think she's just wicked. Terry Hen said both. Okay, so it looks like it's kind of split. Some of you all saying both. Okay, well, we're going to see. We're going to see. I'm going to wait until I get more details. Right now, it's kind of iffy. It's kind of iffy, but let's continue.
But first, breaking right now, we now know what investigators seized from the home of Oninda Romulus, the mother charged with shooting her 4 children, 2 of them.
KHOU 11 investigates obtained the search warrant, which reveals evidence of a criminal identity theft operation. Investigative reporter Jeremy Rogowski joins us with details on this latest development. Jeremy.
Ron and Sherman, after investigators found Romulus and her 4 children at a gas station in Brazoria County early Saturday morning, they initially thought there might be a 5th child unaccounted for. So they searched her home in Porter, Montgomery County, more than an hour north. Searching this home in Porter Saturday, Montgomery and Brazoria County Sheriff's detectives found evidence of criminal activity unrelated to the child. They seized dozens of Social Security cards, credit cards, and identification cards. Some identification cards had photographs of Oninda Romulus with names of different individuals, the search warrant affidavit says. The counterfeit identification documents were in various states of manufacture, bearing different names, states, and photographs. The search warrant also shows they seized this Tesla in the driveway to analyze its onboard video surveillance system. And investigators reviewed a neighbor's security camera, which captured the mother's vehicle leaving Porter about 2:39 Saturday morning.
We need multiple ambulances.
They say Romulus called 911 about 2 hours later from this Brazoria County gas station, where they found her 4 kids got wounds, 2 of them. Now, in court documents, Ramos allegedly told investigators that she didn't call 911, that in fact she called, quote, the devil. And when asked why she called, Ramos allegedly answered, instead of them doing it to me, I'm going to do it to them.
I cheated on him basically out of spite. I was like, okay, he's doing him, so I'm going to do me. And I had a mutual friend I'd been talking to for like 3 months, which is Jeremy, of course. And we were
That's Mr. Covington, who will appear in court in a moment.
Yes, Sean.
All right.
And me and him were like good friends or whatever, and it was just basically chilling, and it eventually led on to having sex.
So in other words, you were having sex with my mom's ring on your finger?
After I've done what I've done, and I felt bad after what I've done, because me and him had sex like 2.5 weeks before that occurred until I heard something else, so it just made me do it out of spite.
Then what happens, Mr. Seymour?
I proposed to her with my mom's ring, and she still go out here.
You proposed to her with your mother's ring?
Yes, ma'am. She still go out here and betray me.
At some point,
you said it was a promise
found
ring.
out
I didn't
you
know
were
what
pregnant.
it was.
Am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, I had sex with DJ and I had sex with Jeremy. Jeremy might be the father. I'm 100% for sure Jeremy's the father. But then again, I had...
Okay, turns out neither one of them were the father. Okay, please pay attention. And also, I noticed when they said the names of her children on one of the news reports, they have all different names. They all have different names. Okay. One of them has the same last name as her, but the rest of them all had different names. So they all have different fathers, clearly. Now, with that all being said, DJ Big Six said, you are not the father. With that all being said, looking at that video of her dancing, and then they were saying that when she made a post She put on there, mama gotta have a life too. Maybe she just wanted to get rid of her kids. Who knows? We're going to go to what they said about this on Law and Crime, but I want to tell you all this. You know, most mothers who kill their children actually do not have mental health issues. Most of them do not, according to studies. However, severe mental illness is a significant risk factor for filicide. Filicide is simply a parent killing a child, their child, and it's much more prevalent in mothers who commit this crime than in the general population. When a mother has a psychiatric disorder, it is a crucial factor, especially in cases where the motive is psychosis or an extended, how do I want to say this? The S word. Y'all know when people don't want to be here anymore. Okay, so anyway, let's talk about the motivations behind maternal filicide, which is when a mother kills their child, and the role of mental health. They vary depending on the type of killing. So let's talk about what type of killing this was. We know it was a filicide, but was it fatal or maltreatment? Okay, fatal maltreatment. Here's what they say about that. The most common type of filicide is often the unintended result of chronic child abuse or neglect. Okay, it is less associated with severe mental illness than other forms, although the mother may have a substance use disorder or poor coping skills. Sort of like that mother, I think I showed you all the video of the mother who had a special needs child, and she was like at the limits. She was just like so frustrated because she was having to do everything by herself, and she just seemed like she was having a breakdown. Sometimes people in those types of predicaments just lose it and end up doing something crazy. That's why it's imperative that people like that, when they get to that point, that they seek some kind of help. Then they have the next one is altruistic filicide. Now, in these cases, the severely depressed or psychotic mother kills her children out of a delusional belief that she's saving them from a fate worse than death. This can include an extended, the S word for self-deletion, where the mother kills the child to spare them growing up without a mother, or a belief that the child is better off deceased. Then they have psychotic filicide. Now, these are exceptionally rare cases in which a mother with psychosis kills her child without a clear motive. Okay, this may occur due to command hallucinations or during a psychotic episode, which this kind of sounds like what may have happened with this lady. I can't say for sure, but think about how she was talking about she sent them, they were going to get her. She had to get them first, and they're with the devil and all of this. That sounded kind of psychotic, like she's suffering from some type of mental health issues, but you don't know for sure. They'll have to evaluate her and see, because one thing about it is, and also they're going to have to see if she's even competent to stand trial. I'm sorry, trial. But I'm stuttering because I was reading Angie Sargent's comment at the same time, and my brain was processing it as I was trying to speak. Angie said, hearing voices. Exactly, because I wonder if she's going to say that she was hearing voices. Okay, because the things that she is saying already sounds like she has mental health issues, but let's not forget that people also pretend to have mental health issues. So you have to be sure that they really are not faking. And that's why they have them evaluated, because some of these people just want to play crazy after they've done nefarious deeds. Okay, I'm not saying that she is. I'm just saying that sometimes that can be the case. Now, let's continue. So also, they say this may occur due to command hallucinations or during a psychotic episode. Okay, they could just have a split from reality, like a mental break, and do something like that. Okay, then next they have unwanted child. Now, this motive is less common and involves a mother killing a child who she views as an obstacle to her goals. Okay, now this would be Diane Downs. Remember, Diane Downs didn't want her children, and Susan Smith. This would be either of those two. unwanted child because neither one of them wanted their children. They didn't want them anymore because a man that they were dating didn't want kids. So they took their kids out so they can be with this man. Okay, that was more important to them than their own children. Both of them got caught. All right, remember Susan Smith lied and said a black man carjacked her and then her kids were found in the lake where she drove them to, and then Diane Downs shot her children, and I believe one of them died. I can't remember, but I do know that a couple of them at least lived. One of them ended up in a wheelchair, and the prosecutor on her case actually adopted the ones who survived. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, unwanted child. This motive is less common and involves a mother killing a child who she views as an obstacle to her goals. It is sometimes associated with personality disorders or attachment issues. Okay, and then there's the last one, neonaticide. Now, neonaticide refers to killing a newborn within the first 24 hours of life and is considered a distinct phenomenon from other maternal filicides. Neonatal, those type of mothers are often young, immature, and lack a history of severe mental illness, though they may face significant social or economic distress. Well, I would say that sounds like the girl who just murdered her baby. Remember that report where the girl killed her baby? She said the baby was whimpering and she thinks that she rolled over on it. I absolutely think she did it on purpose. Okay, and Brooke Skylar Richardson also. This is what both of them did, but neither of them had a history of severe mental illness. So I would just say they were both inherently wicked and evil, if you ask me, because neither one of them had mental health issues. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, they say studies have shown that mental health disorders are overrepresented among mothers who commit filicide. A large-scale study in England and Wales found that while mental illness was not a factor in the majority of overall filicide cases, mothers were significantly more likely than fathers to have a mental disorder. In that study, 66% of filicide mothers had a history of mental disorder compared to 27% of the fathers. So the fathers are just wicked in most cases. That's what they're basically saying. They said the mothers are more likely to have mental health issues. Oh, that's probably, in my opinion, that's probably because mothers are the ones that are prone to getting to suffering from postpartum depression and things of that nature. Okay, so anyway, with that all been said, let's continue. Like stuff, everyone, please like and share. Okay, here we go.
I don't know if y'all heard this story of Oninda Romulus, but baby, this story, y'all need to hear this one. I have a clip of this story. I want y'all to listen to it from beginning to end. And when I come back, we definitely gonna talk about it.
We are learning heartbreaking new details tonight about a mother accused of the unimaginable, shooting her 4 children and killing 2 of them.
This is a previous mugshot you're looking at of Oninda Romulus. Tonight, court documents revealing what she told deputies from behind bars. Anieli Ruiz is following the story. And Anieli, I know you spoke to the suspect's father tonight.
I spoke with her father briefly over the phone. He says they're still trying to make sense of it all. They had just moved to Texas in May without any family here. Tonight, court documents are painting a disturbing picture of what may have led to the deaths of 2 young children, allegedly at the hands of their own mother. 31-year-old Oninda Romulus is accused of shooting all 4 of her children early Saturday morning. Investigators say she drove nearly an hour from her home in Porter to this gas station in Angleton and then called 911.
We need multiple ambulances.
You can hear the officers' urgency as they uncover a tragic scene. 13-year-old Okero Covington had been killed, and 3-year-old Amara Chappelle also died in the back seat.
We're doing first aid. We're doing everything we can.
Officers rushed to help the 2 surviving children, 9-year-old Kyle Romelius and 8-year-old Traviel Donner. Both were airlifted to Memorial Hermann Hospital fighting for their lives. Meanwhile, their mother was taken into custody, and what she allegedly told investigators is chilling. When asked why she called 911, court documents said she told investigators, instead of them doing it to me, I'm going to do it to them. When asked, do what, she reportedly replied, kill them all. She also told investigators she didn't call 911. She called the devil. She told detectives her children were with the devil. She went on to tell them they're dead. When asked what she meant by what she said, she replied, you can't take me without me taking you.
Story, y'all, and I'm not gonna lie, me listening to the story, it breaks my heart. My heart, thoughts, and prayers go out to her children, especially those 2 surviving children that are still in the hospital, still fighting for their life. These babies did not ask to be here. They didn't ask for any of this. Her children were small children. Her oldest child was 14 years old. That was the one that she unalived first, that was sitting in the front seat. The other 3 kids were sitting in the back seat. So the 14-year-old and the 3-year-old, unfortunately, did not survive their injuries. The other 2 children, again, like the news reported, they were airlifted to a hospital where they're currently fighting for their lives. But let me tell y'all this. This story is very, very disturbing. Reason being is because children were harmed by their own mother. Now, just listening to this story, because when I tell y'all, I've been pondering over this story all day and researching and trying to find out as much information about this story as I possibly can, and trying to find out as much information on this young lady that I possibly can. What I've come to find out, and to my opinion, that this woman was suffering from a lot. She was dealing with a lot of mental issues that no one in her family, her neighbors, no one knew. Even after speaking to her dad was trying to make sense of how could she do this? You know, the person and the mother that she was that loved her children, I couldn't think of her ever harming her children. Her family members went on to say that there's no way that she could have did this. They really believe that somebody else did this, and she just may be covering up for somebody, because there is no way that she could have done this. To me, a person that's not in their right mind is capable of doing anything. And I truly don't believe that this young lady was in her right mind when she did what she did. The reason why I say that is because she keep going off that her children are now with the devil. And not only that, for her to really honestly believe that her own children, her small children, were trying to unalive her, so she felt that she would beat them to the punch, that just doesn't sit right with me. It just don't make sense. That does not sound like a person in their right mind would say. That sounds like something that a person that's suffering from mental issues, that's dealing with schizophrenia, or just dealing with a lot of mental health issues. That's what that sounds like to me. And the reason why I say that, because you know what, I don't know if y'all remember back in 2002, Andrea Yates, I ain't gonna say the young lady, but the mother of 5 that drowned all 5 of her children in their home here in Texas. I don't know if y'all remember that story. I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all do, because that story was worldwide. It caught the attention of a lot of people. Now, when that happened to Andrea Yates, everybody went on to saying, hey, I felt bad for this woman. I can't imagine her being at home with 5 small children every day. Just having one child is enough to just drive a person insane. Raising children is so hard. They just went on and on, gave this woman all type of sympathy. And don't get me wrong, they later on found out that this lady, after doing research, they later found out that this lady was suffering from postpartum depression from having multiple children back to back to back. So they evaluated her, they ran all types of tests, and they later found out that this lady was dealing with a lot of mental issues and that she was suffering from postpartum depression. And for that reason, they believe is what led her to unaliving all 5 of her children. Do y'all know that Andrea Yates never served not one day in prison? They transferred her to a mental institute where she is still at today. she never stepped foot in a prison cell, not one day. Reason why I bring that story up is because, and this is just my opinion, I feel like this story with Oninda and Andrea Yates are kind of similar, only because these two women felt the need to take their own children's lives due to some demonic spirit that told them or led them to do it. Now, what makes this story a bit different, other than the race, is because Olinda used a firearm to unalive her children, and Andrea Yates used her bathtub to unalive her children. Now, I'm hoping that they will get to the bottom of what drove this young lady to doing what she did, whether they tried to evaluate her, run some tests on her to try to see and get to the bottom of what made you choose to wake up Saturday and unalive all 4 of your children. And when the police say that when they got to the scene and they were, questioning her, she really couldn't give them a straight answer. And when they got her back to Brazoria County police station to interview her, she was talking all outside of her neck, that like they really couldn't make sense of what she was talking about. So that led me to believe again that this young lady had to been suffering from some mental issues at the time that she felt like she needed to take her children's life. Because what she said makes no sense at all. Not one person in their right mind is going to wake up and say, you know what, I'm going to choose to take my children's life. That just don't add up to me. It just don't. So the same attention that they gave Andrea Yates, I wish they would give to this young lady, because they really need to get to the bottom of why these mothers are choosing to take their own children's lives. Not all mothers.
Okay, I've heard enough. Now listen, here's the thing. I don't agree with her. I think she's giving this woman too much grace. Because first of all, that little scenario about what if she didn't do it, someone else did, and she's taking the blame? What? She totally did it. She said she did it. Okay, and then she called the police. She absolutely did it. And here's the thing. I get her wanting to give her grace because she's black. But here's the bottom line. This lady is no comparison to Angela Yates, in my opinion. And here's why. Yeah, Mad Dog Jack said she's making excuses. Exactly. And I'm not going to make excuses for her just because she's black. I think she's just evil. Okay, maybe she had mental health issues. I don't know. But I'll tell you what, I believe she knew what she was doing. And here's the difference. Here's the difference. And please pay attention, because I did my research. Angela Yates, I brought her up to you all on several occasions when I was talking about mothers who kill their children. But Angela Yates absolutely was diagnosed with postpartum depression. Angela Yates has 5 children. Out of the 5, her youngest was 6 months old when she took her children's lives. The youngest was 6 months old. Now, why is that important? Because that means that she was well within the time frame to actually be suffering from postpartum depression. Okay, let's talk about that for just a moment, because postpartum depression can vary in duration, with most women experiencing symptoms from several weeks to months. Some have it short term, where some women may experience the mild symptoms only for a few weeks, known as baby blues. That's what they call it. These typically resolve in 1 to 2 weeks. Some people suffer moderate. Okay. Now, when it's moderate, it could last from 3 to 6 months. Okay. And then long term. Now, long term, in some cases, the postpartum depression can last for over a year. This is more common in women with a history of depression or other mental health issues. So if you've already suffered from some form of mental health issues, then you get postpartum depression added into that. It could last longer, a year or more. Now, it doesn't say how much more. It says it's important to seek professional help if you experience PPD, which is postpartum depression. Early intervention can significantly improve outcomes. With proper treatment, most women with PPD can recover and live fulfilling lives. Okay? So, with that all being said, this lady, Oninda Romulus, her youngest child was 3. Her youngest child was 3. Now, albeit it could last longer than a year, so we could say that maybe she had it, but I don't think she did, because her posting them videos, dancing and all that stuff, talking about mama has a life too, or whatever. Okay. Maybe she just wanted to be on her own and not have those kids. Okay, she seems like she was somebody who was promiscuous with all these different baby daddies and all of that, all these different baby dads going on the show and then having 2 tested and neither of them. She probably is for the streets. Now, maybe she has mental health issues, I don't know, but she definitely is for the streets. Okay, she definitely is for the streets. So I have questions. All right, I have questions at the end of the day. I don't know, but what do you all think? Okay, Emma said she wanted to be free. Okay, Political Win said too many soul ties. Byron said bingo queen. Nicole said 304. AJ said she has been on back. Hold on. AJ said she has been on back issues. Leah said I have questions too. Okay, Laverne said all those men's spirit. Angie said borderline personality disorder. Exactly. Busy Diva said her youngest child was 3. Mental illness is mental illness and demonic possession is real. Yeah, I'm inclined to think that perhaps it was demonic, some sort of demonic entity, because she was talking about they went to the devil and all of that, but you never know. Sometimes people put on acts. Okay. I'm going to wait to see what happens after they mentally evaluate her. Okay, I'm going to see how that turns out, what they say about that. But anyway, in the meantime, let's go to this report from Law and Crime, from the Law and Crime Network. Now I'm going to use an overlay because I don't have permission to use this video. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. This is a very interesting case, very sad. My condolences for the 2 that passed away. Okay, condolences for the lives lost and prayers for a speedy recovery for the other 2. Thank God 2 of them at least survived. I hope they'll be able to go on and live, normal lives, because this is just dreadful. Okay, so I'm gonna rewind this. I'm gonna start at like the 6-minute mark, I think. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Sister.
Other charges she was facing. Joining us now to talk more about this from Texas is Anthony Asso, criminal defense attorney and a former assistant district attorney. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. I know this is an incredibly sad case. Just initially from what we've learned, and there isn't a lot from deputies, but what do you just take away about the evidence that it seems that they have to this point?
Well, I think it's largely that they're relying on the 911 phone call, as well as probably interviews from the 2 children that survived the shooting, which, while eyewitness interviews are typically strong testimony, it's her own children. So I think that they're going to really want to work to build up more evidence that will corroborate the testimony of those 2 other children.
Yeah, and the 2 children who survived, I mean, they're both minors. How do you go about, from, the prosecution standpoint of making sure that you have a story that you could use in court, considering these kids are so young? I believe they're 8 and 9 years old who survived.
Well, you want to find, in addition to testimonial evidence, you're going to want to look for all the direct physical evidence that could corroborate what happened, right? So they're going to be looking at the shell casings on the scene. My understanding is that these shootings occurred at a gas station. So we're going to want to look for surveillance video to find out if there's any footage that will corroborate the child witnesses' statements. Because not only are they young witnesses, but they're also the children of the defendant in this case. And so in addition to all the emotional trauma that they're dealing with right now, when it comes down to time to potentially testify in some sort of trial setting, their emotions and feelings could be kind of up in the air.
She's being held on a $14 million bond. And I know in a lot of states, and typically you don't see bond that high.
No.
How does it work in Texas where someone could actually be, and I know they broke it down with the 2 murder charges are $5 million apiece, and then the 2 aggravated assault charges with a deadly weapon, I believe it was, are $2 million apiece, bringing it to 14. How does that work in Texas?
Well, in just like any other state, Texas has to abide by the Constitution. So you can't use bail in order to oppress somebody, and everyone's entitled to bail. However, in Texas, if they put on a proof evident hearing, and I think we could anticipate that there could be a capital murder charge in this case. We don't have that much information yet, but in the event that Brazoria does file capital murder, and they did intend to seek death in this case, they could have a proof evident hearing and ultimately hold the defendant at no bond. But without doing that, and just on murder charges, she's entitled to bail. And I do think that that amount is high, so we'll likely see her defense attorneys file a writ in an effort to lower the bond. Still, I imagine that the bonds will be out of reach for her in these cases.
Because, you know, and still, I mean, we haven't learned a lot about what exactly links her to this shooting. Deputies have said that they believe it happened in the car. They're still figuring out exactly where. They were asked about the murder weapon. It was unclear whether they actually have that. When it comes to a bond hearing in the short term, I mean, what would be the argument that a defense attorney could have to try and lower her bond? And also the other part of it is, what's the point of even lowering it if it would be an amount over $1 million that she might not be able to afford?
Sure. I think it's just, regardless, it's your responsibility as her lawyer to get the bond as low as possible in an effort to try and help her make that bond. Putting together a defense is going to be a lot more successful if you're able to communicate with your client. And the reality is if your client is in custody, that's harder. It's harder to have communication with them. I think the arguments that the defense will likely make are that she's got no criminal history. And I think that they'll probably argue her financial means in this case. But with the facts, as far as from what we've seen so far, I think the prosecution will just rely on the facts. And it wouldn't surprise me if the judge didn't budge on the bail amount in this case.
You read through some of the court documents, and she made some very bizarre, scary statements, saying things like her children are with the devil. She said, kill them all. You know, on one hand, that could be very incriminating, but on the other hand, you would look and say that this isn't someone who maybe is in the right state of mind. How does the law see a statement like that of whether an insanity defense could be coming?
Yeah, Chris, so the law in Texas, when it comes to insanity, basically states that you have to establish that the person wasn't aware of the consequences of their actions. So they really couldn't process what they were doing at the time that the offense was committed. It's a really high standard, and you don't often see successful insanity defenses. They do occur, but it's definitely the exception to the rule. So I think statements like that are something that the defense at least would tip the defense off to explore in this case. Especially when we're talking about first-degree murder charges or potentially capital murder, where a defendant faces life without parole in prison. The defense has to explore every single avenue, whether that's is she the person that actually committed the offense? Was she acting in self-defense, or did she do it, but was she insane at the time and unable to process what was going on? So I think we'll certainly see the defense explore that avenue in this case.
What would be the point where the defense could actually make that argument? Because it's one thing that she makes these statements in spur of the moment. I haven't seen anything that she's had any sort of history with mental health in the past. Maybe she has an undiagnosed disorder that could explain some of this activity. How does both the prosecution and defense kind of explore that and figuring out whether that would be a viable defense for her?
Well, the first line for the defense in this case is going to be obtaining an expert to have her evaluated and to look at the facts and look at the overall investigation in this case, because they're not going to be able to establish that she was acting out of insanity if they don't have an expert testify to that effect. You've got to then notify the state if you intend to use that kind of evidence in a trial. So I imagine the state would have their own expert to conduct a similar evaluation. To counter that, I think the prosecution is likely going to rely on the circumstances surrounding the shooting in this case, right? The fact that Ms. Romelis left the scene is going to be something that they would rely upon to say, look, you fled in an effort to avoid getting in trouble, which goes so that you had recognition of the consequences of your actions. So it's sort of the circumstances surrounding the shooting that I think the state will heavily rely on.
If it was found, and I'm just thinking off the top, say she's schizophrenic and she's never known that she was schizophrenic, and they find through this evaluation that she is. I mean, what's the bar still, even if that was the case? What makes the bar so high to actually use an insanity defense?
Well, you could rely, I mean, the schizophrenic, her suffering from schizophrenia could be probative for the defense, but it's a matter of tying that in to this instant offense and showing that due to that schizophrenic episode, that the defendant couldn't process what they were doing. And so you have to create that nexus. And I think that's what makes the bar so high here. I think finding an expert to testify to say, hey, look, a lot of people won't say, a lot of people won't say schizophrenia could lead to that, or could lead to you not recognizing what's going on. So it's having an evaluation that shows that, in fact, she didn't realize what she was doing at the time she shot her 2 children. So I think that's what creates a high bar.
And even beyond that, because if they file capital murder charges and say they seek the death penalty in this case because she shot 4 kids allegedly, killing 2 of them, on the flip side of it, let's say she was found not guilty by reason of insanity. Like, what would life look like for her? And I know we're getting way ahead of ourselves of where we are in this, but just thinking that one possibility could eventually be the death penalty, what would be on the flip side of that if the insanity defense actually worked out?
Yeah, that's a good question, Chris, because I think there's a general assumption that someone would then just walk free. And the reality is they don't. There's a structured period of time where when somebody's found not guilty by reason of insanity, that they can still, they're incarcerated, but they're typically in a state mental hospital until there's a restoration of their sanity.
Okay, yeah. So with that all being said, you definitely wouldn't want to see someone like that just out on the streets. Okay, that's what you wouldn't want to see. All right. So anyway, like, do you all think this lady's crazy? Or she just wanted to be for the streets? I have several questions. Now, here is another report where they show what the investigators found. Okay, search warrant shows investigators found evidence of identity theft at the home of the mother accused of shooting her 4 children. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's see what they found at the house.
But first, breaking right now, we now know what investigators seized from the home of Oninda Romulus, the mother charged with shooting her 4 children, killing 2 of them.
KHOU 11 investigates obtained the search warrant, which reveals evidence of a criminal identity theft operation. Investigative reporter Jeremy Rogowski joins us with details on this latest development. Jeremy.
Ron and Sherman, after investigators found Romulus and her 4 children at a gas station in Brazoria County early Saturday morning, they initially thought there might be a 5th child unaccounted for. So they searched her home in Porter, Montgomery County, more than an hour north. Searching this home in Porter Saturday, Montgomery and Brazoria County Sheriff's detectives found evidence of criminal activity unrelated to the child shootings. They seized dozens of Social Security cards, credit cards, and identification cards. Some identification cards had photographs of Oninda Romulus with names of different individuals, the search warrant affidavit says. The counterfeit identification documents were in various states of manufacture, bearing different names, states, and photographs.
Now, I want you all to pay attention. This is what further makes me think that there's nothing wrong with her mentally, that she's just somebody who wants to be for the streets, because she was apparently living lavish. Okay, because did you all see the house that she lived in? It was a very nice house. And then also, There was people online saying this lady had her own business. She had money. She was doing well for herself. Oh, okay. Well, it looks like she was in the business of credit card fraud. Okay, which would explain how she was wearing all that nice and fancy name brand stuff that everybody was talking about. Okay, I thought she had a legit business, but clearly she was a whole fraud. Okay, that's what it's all sounded like. So, I just think that this lady probably wanted to be for the streets and didn't want to be bothered with those kids anymore. That's what it's given thus far. But let's continue, because anybody crazy, but you got time to do all this? Yeah, I'm not falling for it.
The search warrant also shows they seized this Tesla in the driveway to analyze its onboard video surveillance system. And investigators reviewed a neighbor's security camera, which captured the mother's vehicle leaving Porter about 2:39 Saturday morning.
We need multiple ambulances.
They say Romulus called 911 about 2 hours later from this Brazoria County gas station, where they found her 4 kids with gunshot wounds, 2 of them dead. Now, in court documents, Ramos allegedly told investigators that she didn't call 911, that in fact she called, quote, the devil. And when asked why she called, Ramos allegedly answered, instead of them doing it to me, I'm going to do it to them, kill them all. As for that initial belief there was a 5th child, a source tells me that turned out not to be the case. Ron?
All right. Thank you so much, Jeremy Rogowski.
Okay, y'all see that? Absolutely crazy. So here's the thing. I mean, she was doing the absolute most, because a search of Ramos's home in Porter, Montgomery County, Texas, uncovered numerous identification and financial documents that investigators considered suspicious or potentially fraudulent. Specifically, they found 33 Social Security cards, 48 identification cards, 16 credit cards, along with electronic devices, printers, shipping labels, and other items possibly used in creating false IDs. Some of those identification cards had her photograph, but names of other people, and many were tied to her address. Romulus had a prior record. In April of 2022. She was arrested in Fayette County, Georgia, on misdemeanor charges, including DUI, with illegal substances, rugs, failure to maintain lane, and possession of less than an ounce of Mary Jane. She also appeared on the television show Paternity Court about a decade ago. They say the motive behind the shooting is not definitively established in public records, and it is not clear whether Romulus has a documented history of mental illness or prior psychiatric treatment. Her legal defense plea, or whether she will claim insanity or diminished capacity, is not yet public. Custody, long-term care, and welfare of the 2 surviving children are under investigation in coordination with Child Protective Services, and investigators continue to verify the origin of the fraudulent documents and whether there's a broader pattern of identity fraud associated with her. This is a darn shame. Well, it's absolutely nefarious. But, I want to hear this, because I want to find out if they're in fact going to say that she has a history of documented mental health issues. If she does not, to me, she's just being nefarious, okay? At the end of the day, I wanted to see what her father had to say, because someone said they spoke with her father. Anywho, right, Laverne said driving a Tesla, living large, huh? Okay. AJ said, you black in a Tesla, you a weirdo. Oh my goodness. Anyway, with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. This woman, in my opinion, absolutely knew what she was doing. I think she just decided that she wanted to be living free without her kids, and now she's trying to play crazy. I mean, Byron says she's a criminal. Exactly. Now, just because she's a criminal doesn't mean that she can't have mental health issues. That's certainly true. But the kind of crime that she was committing, she had to be in her right state of mind to be doing that and getting away with it, okay? And clearly she was getting away with it because she's living in a whole nice house, driving a Tesla, and from the streets, they're saying that she was wearing all these name brand clothes and appeared to have money and been doing very well for herself, okay? So with that all being said, yeah, I don't think she's crazy. I don't think she's crazy. I think she's faking the funk, trying to play crazy. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, everyone please like and share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right. Also, don't forget to tune back in later at about 6:30 or 7 because I will be back. All right, and I will see you all then. Until next time, beloveds, peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got